What's going on, guys? Belair here. We are on Mist Point of View. Big news for Mist, who has spent the last season on NRG. Shift reported that, well, I guess NRG reported themselves, and then Shift covered that NRG have parted ways with Mist, which caps off a pretty messy and uninspiring season, although Mist is going to start us off with a slot right there. Pretty messy and uninspiring season. They finished 12th overall in North America, which was a pretty hotly contested region, although 12th is certainly not what you would hope for with Mist and GarrettG, and it wasn't for a lack of effort. They definitely tried quite a few combinations this season. They started off with Frosty, and then before the season kicked, they moved off of him. They gave Toasty a try, which is who is playing on the other side of the pitch right now. Toasty, who finished the season off for Incorrect Esports, was not able to get this roster firing as they had hoped, and then they ended up giving Drees a try. And by that point, we really knew that they were maybe scraping the barrel is unfair, but Drees had retired from professional RL about a month before joining NRG's roster, and although that kind of steadied the ship a little bit, they ended the season by picking up Aqua, who had spent the first half of the season playing alongside Squishy before he retired, and of course Gimmick as well. So I want to recap Mist a little bit here, and then eventually we'll talk about what my next steps might be for his future in this esport. 19th most all-time games played. Very impressive number. Over 1,400 RLCS competitions played by Mist, with S-tier events going all the way back to Season 8. 13 S-tier events, so those are typically international play, but also include some of the Season X COVID matches as well. But 13 is definitely pretty impressive, and 2 of those S-tier events happened last season, in which Mist finished with a top 4 placement alongside FaZe Clan. So this season is quite a stark contrast to the level of success experienced last year, as FaZe Clan were one of the top dogs throughout the entirety of the season. This season, goals per game, fairly average. Assists per game, fairly average. I would say Mist calling card statistically was incredibly high quality shooter, but on fairly low volume. So ranked near the top of North America in goal shooting percentage, but near the bottom of North America in attempts per game. The record was not very impressive for NRG this season. They finished with a 10-16 record, only made a single playoffs in which they were 0-4 swept out by Luminosity Gaming, and that was a great chip to catch Mist and the NRG defense off guard there in transition. 10-16 finish, and they went to the 5th round of competition in 3 of the 6 open qualifiers. So they really were right there in a lot of events, but were unable to get over the hump. So where does Mist go from here? This season certainly hurts the stock quite a bit, I would say. There have always been rumors, and for me, I would probably call them hearsay, which is that Mist doesn't necessarily play the game a lot. That could totally be true. I've heard it from a couple sources, but I don't know it to be true and don't have anything to necessarily substantiate it. So for the sake of this argument, they are rumors. And I think what the future holds for Mist is, in many respects, in Mist's hands. Does he want to continue playing the esport at an incredibly high level? If so, I'm sure there are some teams who would want a savvy veteran with the amount of experience that he has to join their team. All of these young upstart teams, whether it be a Snowman-esque roster, a Spate Esports roster, which has Realize, Panda Skippy, some young talent, there are a lot of teams and players who could use a veteran. Those aren't necessarily just new teams. Mist is pretty well respected and known around the region, so I'm sure that there would be some top level opportunities, although I don't know if anything for a team that is anticipating a consistent top 4 would be available. But hey, I would say crazier things have happened. I even think about a situation like what we see with SSG, where if they end up not having the results that they have hoped for, Mist has been roommates with Chicago. At least he was. I'm not sure if he still is. Is that a situation in which they would try and adjust somebody like a Hoxer, just for sake of the argument, for someone like Mist to come on and give them a new look? I don't know the answer to that. I think Mist has shown that he is impressive enough, and I cannot believe that this is how this game ends. What happened? I still think Mist is impressive enough to, rise to the competition. Oh my gosh, what a fake that was to end up icing this game. Pun not intended by that goal explosion. But I guess time will tell. We are early into, not even at the off season yet. This is one of the first moves to be made. So NRG are going to continue trying to shuffle the deck and find a suitable fit around Garrett. And the core is now Aqua and Fireburner as coach alongside him. I would say that that will be a pretty hotly contested spot by quite a few players around the region, and perhaps some imports as well. I think that that would be a great landing spot for, depending on what M80 decide to do, for somebody like AJ. Would love to see that roster really get some more firepower in there to go alongside Aqua. Somebody who can play end-to-end Rocket League, I think, would suit this team quite well and has the veteranship that you would want for a team like that. But there's a lot of legacy talent that is currently floating around North America, and I would assume we're going to see quite a scramble as the season comes to an end, and there's a lot of teams that are going to be disappointed with the results from the season. So what do you guys make of Mist and his future? Do you still see Mist being someone who can be on a team that is contending for major contention, or do you think that those days of international competition at a consistent level are behind him? Definitely let me know in the comments below. I still hold out hope for Mist, who has been to 40 A-tier events over the course of his career. Very impressive if the days of going to lands are behind him. Certainly a very high-quality career out of Mr. Costello. So guys, as always, thank you so much for stopping by to check out the content. And until next time, take it easy.